We all deserve to have someone that we can talk to and express ourselves to, who won't judge us, who won't shame us, who will listen to us and listen to us with their full presence. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I had a beautiful conversation this morning with a creator, and it inspired me to make this video, which is how to get out of our heads as creators. This is someone who has an experience blogging and creating online. She created a whole business, but now she's thinking about going to a new platform, which is YouTube. And every time she starts working on it, she gets excited, but then
the voices start.
And she starts wondering, wait a minute, actually, how does this fit with my brand? Do I actually have enough time for this? It seems like it's gonna be a lot of work. Maybe I shouldn't even do it at all. And she lets those voices stop her. So I wanted to make this video to really talk about how to get out of your head as a creator, because this is also something that I've had to deal with. I took notes, y'all, because I took this seriously. And what I wrote here, which I think is really important to emphasize in the beginning, and I want to emphasize it throughout, is that creating and being in our flow, that's natural. That's our natural state. That actually is what happens when there's nothing in our way. So we don't have to be efforting and doing all of this work to create. And I think you know that if you've ever been in that flow state, when you've really been living in your true purpose, it doesn't feel like work. It feels natural to you. So the key thing is just to get the things that are in your way out and to release them, and then naturally your creativity will flow. So when it comes to getting out of your head, I think there are two key things to look at. The first thing is, why are you in your head in the first place? And the second thing is, what are those voices in your head saying? So for this first question, which is why you are in your head in the first place, it is surprisingly simple. It's the safest place to be. It is natural for us to be in our body, in our emotions, in our mind, and connected to our spirit. So those are like the four kind of like general places, and it's natural to occupy all of them. So what we find is that a lot of our energy is actually in our head, circling and generating all these thoughts. That means that the energy that was in our body and was in our feelings, sensations, something told us, oop, no, that's not safe. Let's take all that energy and put it up here instead. Other people, the energy goes all the way out and they don't even find themselves sort of like in their lives at all. That's a whole other story. But for a lot of us who are stuck here, circling in our thoughts, it's because at some point, usually when we're younger, there was a lot going on. And instead of being in our body, it made more sense and it was more intelligent to leave. So it could have been because of something physical, it could have been because of something psychological. Either way, being here in our body, which also kind of correlates to being here in this moment, being here present in our life where we are, that was actually too much for us. In my case, I find that I use the word unacceptable, where I was like,
what's actually happening here is actually unacceptable.
And so I cannot accept it, I can't be here for it.
So I gotta go.
I gotta leave with my energy and I gotta take it somewhere else. And then later, leave with my body and take it somewhere else. When we think about why we're even in our head, it's important to not pathologize it or to say it's something bad that we're doing. It's actually very intelligent, it's very wise, and it's to be applauded that we have a nervous system and we have a body that's smart enough to say, oh wait, right here isn't safe. Let me go somewhere else and I'll hang out there until it's safe to come back. Good job being in your head, first off, all right? But now you're like, all right, thank you. I was able to be in my head when it served me. It's no longer serving me, girl. I would like to get back in my body. How do I do that? The key thing, and I promise it was so hard for me to hear this, you need other people. I know, we wanna do it alone. We don't wanna ask for help. We don't wanna get support because other people let us down. And why would we set ourselves up to be let down again? Why would we hope that we could trust somebody only to be disappointed again? It was so hard to be disappointed all those times. And so we learned to do it by ourselves, and to figure it out by ourselves, and to create by ourselves, and to get by ourselves. So why would we now turn to other people? I get it, all right? And I got as far as I could by myself. And what I found is that, and I hope you like look at your life and see if this is true for you too, you'll find yourself in these loops, and at some point, once you circle around enough times, you'll start asking yourself, why can I not get out of this? What's going on that I just keep doing this again and again and again? And sometimes it takes many loops many repetitions, many cycles until we have that enough awareness to be like, wait, I have been in the same relationship, I've been in the same dynamic, I have been in the same challenge, I've had this exact same conversation way too many times. What is going on? And so if you're watching a video like this, assuming you're not just a fan supporting your girl, it's probably because you're at the point where you're like, okay, I've done this thing too many times where I try to start something, I'm all excited, and when I get into it, when I want to start going, something happens and I end up procrastinating or quitting. I'm tired of that pattern, I want to do something different. So that's probably where you're at. And if you heard my invitation to get some people, get some physical live human being support, and your reaction is like,
anything else we can do?
that's totally good. And that just means you may need to do the cycle a couple more times, and that's cool. Other people, family, friends, coaches, I'm a creative coach, therapists, these feelings that cause you to go into your head, they're so intense, it would feel too intense for you to feel them by yourself. Like your body knows, if just me and you, girl, we're gonna just feel this thing, it'd be too much. I'm gonna need you to get some help. And until you get that help, those feelings aren't gonna drop in because they're not gonna overwhelm you. The whole thing is that you're trying to avoid these overwhelming feelings that were too much when you were young. So they're not gonna just drop in unless you're resourced enough. And so it's the process of getting another nervous system to feel these things with you that gives you the resource. There's this process called non-personal awareness. The feelings are not personal. They truly just want to be felt. So when you feel them, they'll naturally go away and the creativity will just flow again easily. It's nothing you have to do. That's natural for your creativity to flow. And now let's look at what those voices are saying. Looking at what those voices are saying, and you can do that right now without needing to call on anybody, will give you a clue. It'll give you hints to those feelings that you're gonna be feeling later. When I chatted to my friend, what came up for her was questions around her brand. She was like, I've built this whole other brand, she's an entrepreneur, built this whole other brand, the kinds of things I wanna create, it wouldn't fit in with that. She also had feelings around time. She was like, you don't have enough time to do this, all right? And then she also had this feeling of, this is too much work. Like, this is gonna be so much. It may look easy to be creating on YouTube, but actually so much work goes into it. If you do it, you'll be overwhelmed. So why even bother? So those were things that were coming up for her, and I can fully relate, especially to the feeling of, this is going to be so much work. And in my experience, when I get that feeling of like, this is gonna be so much work, this is going to be a lot, it's because I'm at step 1 and I'm already thinking about step 5,000. I'm already so far in the future that I'm like, how am I going to be able to do all the things necessary to achieve this goal? That speaks to not being here in this moment, because being here in this moment is not safe. We're thinking not like, what's the first step of going on YouTube and like registering a channel name? We're like, no, what about when I have 10,000 subscribers and I have all of these brands emailing me and people are being mean in my comments and I'm not able to meet my video schedule? Like, you're already creating problems because when you were younger, that is what helped you survive, thinking 5, 10, 20 steps ahead. So you can look at the nature of what these voices are saying to tell you what intense feelings and emotions you're gonna end up processing when you call on somebody to support you. Similarly, that question about not having enough time, whenever there's not enough of something, we know that's about lack, we know that's about scarcity, and we know that's about trauma, because trauma makes it feel as if there isn't enough, and our natural abundance doesn't seem to exist. And so when we have that feeling of like there's not enough time, we know that we're not actually here. We're in some other younger moment where there wasn't enough space, there wasn't enough room, there wasn't enough ability to be in your full expression. And that feeling is one of the worst feelings. I really don't like that feeling, you know? And so I too try to avoid it. And so when that kind of thought goes off, that's my clue that there's something around there not being enough for me when I was younger that was overwhelming, and I've been storing that feeling to feel later. So you really can kind of backtrack all of these thoughts into some of these feelings, and to the extent that you can alone, start thinking through like, oh, what are some of the experiences and situations that happened where this was the feeling that was generated, and can I talk to somebody and feel those feelings with somebody so that the two of us, the group of us, can work through it. But if you find that still it feels like a lot to even reach out and ask for help, I want to share this journal prompt that I posted on my coaching Instagram, which is Coaching by Chimdi. And this prompt was actually adapted from a custom prompt that I created for one of my coaching clients. So when we think about the main key thing being feeling our feelings, this is a prompt to help you start doing that work by yourself so that you can get used to the intensity and what comes up, and then create more capacity to even go reach out and get support from someone else. If you're looking to find this prompt on my page, this is the journal prompt for releasing resistance. What you want to do is you want to bring to mind someone you want to console you. You want to imagine this is someone you can fully pour your heart out to without fear of judgment or shame. Having someone like that is what you deserve. We all deserve to have someone that we can talk to and express ourselves to, who won't judge us, who won't shame us, who will listen to us and listen to us with their full presence. So that's what I wish for you and want for you, and what I know you can have when you reach out and get that support. But until then, we can simply imagine them and we can simply call them into our being. Once you have this person in mind and you're really feeling connected to them, what would you tell them about how you're feeling at this moment? And you want to allow yourself to be completely vulnerable and name any overwhelm or fear that's coming up for you and what it is that you're scared of experiencing if you were to move forward in whatever creative thing you're doing. You are just writing this to yourself. No one's going to read this. Give yourself that permission to really get into it and to really feel it and to really express yourself. Just that alone is incredibly, incredibly healing. So once you've done that and you've written it all out, I would then invite you to read over what you've written and then to give yourself some compassion. And that can look like imagining this future you who has it all figured out, who's seen the final, who's seen your whole life, who sees that everything works out beautifully. Call this person into mind. Imagine that they write a response. What is it that they would say that would completely console you? If you could get this imaginary letter from the future, you want to write out everything that they would say. I posted this prompt and I had someone say they did it as a part of their morning practice and they wept. Something deep came up for them and they were able to meet themselves with love and acceptance. And what's really beautiful about weeping is when you're crying, you know that there's part of you that is deeply attached to this feeling and this thought that you have. So the process of accessing it to the point of weeping means you're really getting into it and letting yourself release that attachment. So I genuinely am like, good job when I access something and cry about it, because I know that means I'm releasing it. And what I found is that the biggest shift happens when I access that and I weep and there's someone there to witness me. And I'm not just doing it alone. Because so many of these feelings are tied to thinking that we are alone, that no one's here to help us, that no one's here to support us. So just the process of reaching out and then actually getting that support tremendously rewrites the stories we've been telling and gives us so much capacity so that the creativity that comes to us naturally is able to flow. Thank you to my Patreon people. I really appreciate you all. Drop me a comment below if this video has resonated. And of course, you can always DM me, send me an email, put some time on my calendar if you want some one-on-one coaching. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.